This is my Apple IIc. Most of what I'm going to show you tonight I recorded back in early summer, right after I got this unit. I got this unit from a church member who got it from a house that, for lack of a better term, was a hoarder house. This unit was very, very dirty, but surprisingly enough, it was fully functional. Now, I'm going to show you everything, how dirty it was when I got it, everything I did to clean it up, and then of course my initial boot up tests and everything. While the unit itself was fully functional, it has a few little quirks. But anyway, the second part of this video, I'm going to be going through some disks. I got about 100 floppy disks, and I'm going to be going through them. Some of them have labels on them, most of them don't. But I've discovered that none of these have been notched, and none of them have been erased. I've got some software here, and I'm kind of curious as to what I have. So we're going to be going through those. This right here is Mr. Pixel's Programming Paint Set. Don't really know anything about it, but hey, cool. Up until now, this was the only disk that I had for this unit. So it's just a basic AppleWorks startup disk. As you see here, it does boot up with that. Now, I have tested doing some read and write tests with this external drive, and it does function. So anyway, what I've decided to do, and I'm probably going to be doing this in a part 2.
You haven't even started filming yet!
Yes, dear. Thank you for that. Is we're going to be using a program called ADT Pro to copy some disk images to my Apple II. And I'm doing that because I really want some more software for it. Honestly, I want to play some games on it. I've got a few in mind, and that's what we're going to be covering on that second video once I record it. So, without further ado, I want to show you guys where I started with this unit, and let's get started. It's time to fuel up and geek out with Kilobytes and Caffeine.
My Apple IIc really is not in that bad of shape cosmetically. On this closer inspection, you can see that there's a lot of dirt and debris and a lot of the cracks and crevices that really does need to be cleaned out. And soon I'm going to be disassembling all of these components and doing a deep clean on them, along with repairing this monitor. But to be able to appreciate where it is now, you've got to see where it was when I first started. Megabyte, what kind of computer is that?
Apple.
That's right, that's Daddy's Apple IIc. I've got my daughter sitting in my lap while I edit this, and I thought I would include her in it since she's in the video, as you can see there. I was able to get this computer to boot up, and aside from the monitor flickering problem that you see there, it's actually working just fine.
So now that you see where I started with this unit, now I'm going to continue on. We're going to be checking out to see exactly what software I have. Now this right here is part of a huge pile of disks that I have. And by huge, I mean huge. I have about 100 floppy disks in here. And this was something that was graciously donated to me. But as you can see, most of these are blank, or at least they've got the labels removed off of them. So what I'm going to be doing is I made a discovery. Some of these have labels on them, and they actually did boot up to functioning programs. Observe. See? We have Mr. Pixel's programming paint set, which something I'm probably going to play with if you want to know the truth. Ooh, of course I want sound. But this is something that fascinates me. Now, there was a drawing program that we got years ago with the family's 286. It was called Dr. Halo. I loved that program. I used to sit there and draw and all kinds of stuff. I had so many hours logged into that thing. In fact, I originally wanted to be a graphics artist because of that. Now later on I decided I really liked coding better, and then of course I got over into the IT side of things where I'm doing more systems engineer type stuff. But this right here kind of takes me back to that. So this is definitely something I'm going to explore. And I have a whole pile of discs that are labeled as Mr. Pixel's programming paint set. There's quite a few of them in here. A few of them don't work. They did not boot up. So, they might be, various states of functionality. But this one does work. Now, you will notice that I have no sleeves for them. They didn't come with any sleeves. So I do need to find some. But for right now, we're going to start making piles out of what we do have. Now this disc, I have no idea what's on it. So let's pop it in the machine and try it out. No, check disk drive. So most likely it is blank. At some point I'm sure it was a program. None of these discs have been notched. So, if they got formatted, it wasn't by, a standard type floppy drive or anything. So we'll make a stack there of blank discs. There's another one. Now again, the reason that I want to start finding out which one of these discs work and which don't is because I want to start making some of my own discs using the ADT Pro system. And I'm going to be making my own data cable for it. I'm going to be using most likely my MacBook Pro, or we might use a Linux machine that I have to copy the disk images over to it. But it's a really cool setup in that it actually connects up via serial and basically makes a serial, you make a serial cable to connect a RS-232 serial port on your machine, like with my MacBook Pro, it's through a USB dongle, but it makes a connection there, and then it writes the disk on the Apple II, which I think this is a really cool program. Now, it does take a while, so definitely will be something that's going to be a bit of a labor of love, but there's a bunch of games and stuff for these units that I really want to play. I had an Apple IIc when I was a teenager. This was part of my, could have called it a retro computer desk, but did not get to keep it. It was something that somebody had given me, and then they wanted it back. And I really didn't think that that was all that fair. I did give it back. Later on, I got another one, and I gave it to a real good friend of mine. It's actually the same person I rebuilt the VIC-20 for, and the same person that I'm getting some more units from. So, without further ado, let's check these out and see exactly how many discs I can find that do boot up. See, and this one is actually booting into something here. I have no idea what, but it's booting. Now you might have noticed that I originally had this in there. Master types, figures, and formulas. Cool. This is looks like some educational software. I don't know anything about it. My reference computer over here is my PowerMac G4, and it's not connected to the internet. And I'm recording you on my phone, so I can't just look it up right quick. So, this is going to be something that I'll definitely hang on to. And I'll definitely be checking it out, see what it is. I like this old educational software. Okay, it's not really old educational software. A lot of this stuff is still valid. There's actually some stuff that I would love to get my toddler to play. Personally, I think everyone... Okay? Personally, I think everyone should have to play Word Muncher and Number Muncher. So, can't wait. One day I'll have that set up for my toddler using a retro computer, and you guarantee you will be seeing it. So, let's go ahead and see what other games or software that I can find. Hey, looks like we've got something new here. Would I like to resume a saved game? I have no idea what this is. So I'm going to say no. Voodoo Island. Copyright 1985 by Angelsoft. The sun is breaking over the horizon. You have just awakened to find yourself lying on a beach, wet and exhausted, the surf gently lapping at your feet. Okay, well this is definitely a keeper. I like games like that. Old text-based adventures, and that's what this kind of looks like. So, cool. So, we make a third stack. And we've got a fourth title, Number Bowling. Decimals and fractions. So again, another piece of educational software. Okay, so we've gone through all of them. You can see out of all of those diskettes, this right here is that pile of Scarborough software. Again, it's a mixture of the figures and formulas and the pattern maker. But we've got all of this is Mr. Pixel's programming paint set. Then we've got the Scarborough software. All of this is number bowling, which I'm going to keep a couple of copies of that out. And I'm actually arranging these so I will sort of remember how they went in there. And then we've got Voodoo Island, which I'm actually curious to check that one out myself. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. If you like what you see, please hit the like button on this video, hit the subscribe, and don't forget to hit that post notification bell so that the next time I upload a video, you'll get notified of it. I look forward to doing more of these videos for you guys. Be sure to share this content out. If you know anybody else that's into vintage computers or just vintage electronics or seeing some idiot on YouTube make a fool out of himself, please, I'm all for it. Hope you guys have a wonderful evening. Don't just have a great evening, make it a great evening.